Okay. Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday. The
Morning.
Healthy Mom Morning Show, where my good friend Anna and I are going to talk to you about some little nugget that's going to help you to stay healthy as a special needs mom. And today we're talking about the comeback. The comeback, Anna. What are the things that knock people off of routine and healthy habits that you've seen and experienced yourself?
Well, I think just before we went live, we were just talking about it. So, like, oh my goodness. Yeah, my husband and I were traveling this weekend. We haven't traveled together somewhere in probably 5 or 6 years because COVID and welcoming a third baby with special needs and all the stuff. So we were in Denver for a quick weekend, did some snowboarding, but yeah, just like transitions post the weekend. It could just be the weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were mentioning illness. That can be.
Yep. Yeah. My family, we just came off of just like a huge run of sickness. Both my boys got hand, foot, and mouth. And then my son with Down syndrome ended up with a viral infection on the heels of that. And it was like a solid 10 days of being off routine and out of school, and my husband and I like trading off sick days, like, okay, you take a sick day from work and I'll work, and like huge long hours trying to make up for the time that we weren't able to work during the day. And man, so this is hot on my mind because I'm doing the same thing, right? Like we finally this weekend, I was like, okay, we kind of got our footing, and now it's time to come back and get into routine. And it can be really tough. This is something that, we experience as moms. Everybody experiences this at some point, either in like a micro setback or like a major, like macro setback, like an injury or pregnancy, or just I mean, there's so many things. Like I've talked to moms through like career changes and job changes or moving to a new place. But the idea is that like change happens in our life. This is not something that we will avoid ever, small or large. And so many people get thrown um, thrown out of equilibrium, right? As that change happens, we're like working through trying to get our footing. And with change that's thrown into the mix, feels extra hard. What do you think about that?
Oh, completely. Any such that we have to stay on task or the day is gone. And like when you're so out of kilter, I picture like I picture moms a lot of times like we're just treading water. Like we're just trying to keep our head up. That's a huge setback and one more thing to carry. And yes,
You're taking care of yourself. Like that feels so good. And we all want to get back there, whether it's been 10 years since you've been there or like 10 days, goals and all these things that are making it slower than we want it to be. And it is, I think, the big message. And I was thinking about what we were talking about today. Like if you've ever been on a balance board or played one of those games where you're to one side, it's not like all of a sudden you just go whoop and you're in the middle, right? Like what does it look like when we come into balance? It's like we shift and we shift. This is like the balancing act in our life, right? If you imagine that something has come and knocked you off balance, you don't just go whoop. It's naturally with the laws of gravity, and it's the very same in our lives. So
was doing for wellness 10 years ago, and that has to shift too. We can't just jump into our life doesn't mean a different season of life. So I think that's easy to get hung up just in our head.
yeah,
One of my favorite stories, a friend of mine, but she was going through a divorce, and she could not exercise. Like she was so just like emotionally drained, but I just have to keep going and doing something. And I thought that has stuck with me. I mean, that was maybe 15 years ago.
yeah.
Holding up, like those that are like hitting play and watching you work out and just moving with you for 5 minutes but keeping and holding a brick over your head is so impactful for these tough seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. I think yeah, it's a lot of mindset, that goes into play, and then setting realistic expectations of what this is actually going to look like as you come back. I think those are two really big mistakes that I see moms make, because think about what it will feel like if you are setting the expectation, whether it's been 10 years or 10 days, that I'm going to come back and I should be able to just like, boom, get back up here. And then naturally you don't, right? You don't jump right back in and you don't find that same kind of routine right away. Well, what does that make you feel like? If your expectation is here, even if you've done some good things, if you're under here, that naturally leads to feelings of failure, feelings of I'm not doing enough, something's wrong with me, like all of these negative messages that we internalize. And as soon as we internalize those negative messages, discouragement sets in, and then our motivation drops. And then, eventually we may just end up feeling like, I can't do this. And that is the worst possible outcome, is for us to give up, right? We just can't ever give up as long as we keep moving forward in the baby of steps. We're still moving forward, right? And so, yeah, so we bring that expectation down, celebrate the wins, and focus on the routine. I love that. I love that picture of the sauna. There's sometimes for me where I'm like, I'm just going to put my workout clothes on and I'm going to put my running shoes on. And I know I'm stuck in my house today, but doing that is, puts me back in that mindset of like, okay, I am an active person, right? I did this last week when we were just sick, and I would get down on the floor with the boys and do a plank for like a minute, or we're outside running around a little bit, and just, I don't know, it just shifted my mindset to like, okay, I can still be active right now.
I'm exhausted, but I still can do a couple things, and it is incredible what just what we know about, we talk about it a lot, like brain science, just a walk, like not pushing yourself, but just moving, like sitting is never going to be as refreshing as going outside, taking a spin around your yard for 2 minutes. And it just gives you that perspective shift and that movement for your body. And it reconfirms your identity as, I'm someone who exercises. I just exercised. I just walked around the yard. I know.
Ooh, or stretching, right? Or stretching. Sometimes it doesn't have to be like work, but just that, like I'll do this sometimes. I'll just like take a big stretch, and just that movement, it reconnects me with my body, right? Like I'm taking care of my body in this way. This is the way that it's going to feel today. But yeah, it's those little things. It's definitely those little things. When you think about like somebody who has had a chunk of time off and they are looking at coming back and starting an exercise program, like what does that look like realistically for somebody to do that?
Yeah, good question. I think so much of it involves like looking at taking inventory of where their life is, to decide what is going to actually fit, that they can have success with. So I know we talk about this too. We want to guarantee success. When you're starting a new fitness program, you want it to be, the steps to be so small that you guarantee you're successful, because we know that that's going to bring about the desire to do it more. Success brings success. When we try to do something that, or when clients try to do a program that does not fit their life, like you said, that's where the discouragement comes in, and we just give up. And I mean, we see it all the time with our kids, right? If their physical therapist or their occupational therapist set the bar up here and they couldn't have some tiny success even within the session, and they're just frustrated and screaming the whole time, they're never going to want to go back. And so I feel like, our kids are such great teachers for us to be like, oh yeah, we're going to do something really small. Today, we're going to learn to, I've been watching videos of my little guy learning to walk, but I'm like, oh man, he'd have one foot on a book and one foot on the floor. And that's what we worked on for a week. And when I think of that for myself, like, what can I work on this week? This month, we're working on the water, the water challenge in the boost group. And that would be an example of a really small thing where you can see success and feel really, really good about what you're doing, and giving yourself that identity of someone who cares about themselves, and even that you matter. Like, I think when I drink a glass of water, or I eat a salad, or I go for a walk, it's saying, like, I'm responsible first for myself before I can be responsible for other people. So it's sending that message to myself throughout the day. And yeah, so really, answer to your question, it has to be a small step that there can be success and that there can be instant reward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. And my philosophy, if you've been in my world at all, my philosophy is always tackle one thing at a time, right? Yes, you might need to start sleeping more. Yes, you might need to start drinking more water. Yes, you might need to exercise more. Yes, you might need to like go to your doctors and go to the physical therapist. There may be a huge laundry list depending on how long you've been off routine. And like I said at the very beginning, yes, of course you want to get all that done as fast as possible. You want to get to that place, but one thing at a time. What can we do? We can truly just do one thing at a time, because just like what knocked us off kilter in the beginning, right? You add one extra brick, one extra change in your world, even if it's a change for the better, it does take our brain and our lifetime to manage that. So think of that not just in how we get knocked off, but how we come back on, right? One thing at a time, one drop in the bucket at a time. And then make it simple. And this is what we love helping moms with. We just spent some time recently putting together a new program in the Boost program for moms that were in this very situation, whether they were clients of ours that had been doing the 20-minute Boost workouts and then maybe hit a rough season for whatever reason and fell off. We just found that asking them to jump right back in to workouts every day, which we do 20 minutes every day, it was too big of a jump. It was frustrating. It was overwhelming, and we were setting them up for failure. And so we had to look at that and be like, okay, well, how can we bring this down a notch and help ease people in? So we created the 6-week startup plan that is easing back into exercise. It's not every day. It's not all or nothing. It's here's 6 weeks, here's 21 workouts. This is a really good number when it comes to habit change, is 21 days or not 21 days, 21 workouts over 6 weeks that you can do at your own time in your own way that works as you ease back in. And we've just seen so many moms have success with this and feel that very thing, that win. And, it's small enough that they can do it, but it's enough that they're building up strength. They're feeling, better energy. They're feeling more confident in their body. And it just snowballs into all these other areas of their life. It's been really cool. So I think, take the micro approach of exercise, make it small, make it doable. We love 20 minutes, but it may not be 20 minutes for you. If you go to my YouTube channel, if you haven't been there, you can look up Oxygen Fit Coach. We have 10-minute workouts. We have 15-minute workouts there. And I created those and put those there to help moms who might even want to just like build up to being able to do 20 minutes before they start the Boost workouts. But you take that small step and you just keep layering it up and building it up. And it's so cool. What does it feel like when we see somebody like go from 0 to I'm doing this, I'm actually doing it?
That's why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, it's so incredible. And we do need people from the outside, I think, cheering for us. So that's what a great job. We get to cheer other people on in their successes and break it down into small bite-sized steps so that they are guaranteed success. And I love that. And I love that, we talked about that 6-week program when we started hearing from ladies for moms feeling like, I just missed a whole week. I missed my whole week of 20-minute workouts. And we're like, okay, why, what's going on? And it's so interesting that so much of this battle for health and wellness really does start in our mind and our mindset. And you being a health coach and having all that experience of mindset coaching, and me just being at this at a long time and seeing human behavior, you realize, oh yes, if we can like check off those boxes 3 times a week, or even less. Some of the gals on the startup program, they're doing 2 days in a row and then waiting 2 days, they're not even doing it every day, but they're seeing these big successes and now are saying, okay, I'm ready for the daily workouts. But yeah, it's really about that easing in. I think when we go, too much too soon, we, sort of fail at it. And then we just cycle through this mindset of, I'm never going to be able to do this. All those other things that come into play with mom life and special needs life, which you don't want to be discouraged. Fitness shouldn't be discouraging. Fitness should be, and our wellness should be the highlight of our day. It should be encouraging. It should take a little bit of effort to get it in, but it should be something we're looking forward to. So yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
I love
it. Absolutely. So listen, if you're watching this and you're in this place, right? Maybe you're in that setback, or maybe you've been trying to get back on track and you're feeling that discouragement and that frustration of like, why can't I just do this? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You've probably either set your expectations too high, trying to tackle too much all at once, or you just need some support. Like, I reach out to people, this last week, I reached out to people because I needed my people to help me through that. And this week, I'm getting back on track, like just to remember and remind myself of what I need. We all thrive with community and support. So if you're there, we want to help you. This is what we do. We have an amazing community of special needs moms that are there cheering each other on. We've got a 6-week startup program that you can jump into. You've got coaches there who can support you and help keep you accountable in the most loving and compassionate and understanding way, because we get it. We get it. And we just want to celebrate your wins and be that voice in your corner that says, like, you've got this, like, we know you can do this. We are here and cheering you on. So if that's something that you need right now, we've got a couple moms who have reached out recently that are coming in. We would love to connect you guys together into this program. I can chat with you about the different programs and levels. Like, we've got tons of different options so we can find what works for you with where you're starting from right now, as well as some other specialized programs if you're dealing with injury or you're dealing with, postnatal symptoms in your core and your pelvic floor. There's different ways that we can cater this to you, but we just need to chat with you. You just have to take that first step to say, okay, all right, I'm ready. I need this help. And we just want to open our door and open our arms wide to you today. So leave a comment here below if you are interested in talking about that. Zero commitment. We just want to hear and see if this is the right program. And if it's not, like, we'll just refer you to something else, because there's a ton of great programs that are out there that can help you through the same process. So just take that first step for you and give yourself permission to take the slow path, the slow and steady path, so that you have those wins, because it really feels good when you get to that place of positivity and forward momentum. We love it.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear from some new moms. I think just remember, just because you know what to do doesn't mean you're going to do it. I think, I've heard that a lot. I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. So if you know what to do, but you're just not there, just ask for help.